XRP just crushed the 93% whale selling barrier, and we're looking at absolutely explosive price action that could send the Ripple rocket straight to $4 and beyond. Make sure to watch this video entirely until the end, because this could change everything for XRP holders. Goldrush here, and welcome back to Gold Rush Crypto Daily, your home for the most bullish, high-energy crypto content on the platform. Today, we're diving deep into two absolutely mind-blowing stories that prove the XRP army has been right all along. We're talking about massive whale behavior shifts, incredible price predictions, and how some of the biggest crypto critics just got served the humble pie of a lifetime. Let's start with this fascinating article from Being Crypto that's got me absolutely fired up about where the Ripple rocket is heading next. According to this latest analysis, XRP climbed nearly 3% today, showing that beautiful renewed strength after what they're calling a quiet week of consolidation. But here's where it gets absolutely massive. We're seeing XRP trading around $3.28, and it's inching closer to what could be the most important breakout zone in the token's entire history. Now, as you can see in this article, the most bullish signal we're getting right now is something that's got me more excited than a kid in a candy store. Well, selling pressure has absolutely collapsed. We're talking about a 93.2% decrease in whale-to-exchange flows. Let me break this down for you because this is absolutely critical. On July 11th, whales were dumping 43,575 XRP tokens onto exchanges. Fast forward to July 28th, and that number has plummeted to just 2,965 XRP. That's not just a drop, that's a complete transformation in whale behavior. And mark my words, this is exactly the kind of signal that precedes absolutely parabolic moves. Look at this data here. While the current flow is still nearly double what it was on July 25th, the immediate sell pressure has eased dramatically. What this tells me is that we might see some continued consolidation as the market finds its new equilibrium, but the foundation for a massive breakout is being built right before our eyes. But wait, it gets even better. The article mentions something called the Chaikin Money Flow Indicator, and this is where things get absolutely fascinating. While XRP's price has been forming lower highs, the CMF has been printing higher highs. This divergence is like finding buried treasure in the crypto markets. What this means is that there's steady capital flowing into XRP even as the price action appears subdued. As you can see in this analysis, as larger whale holders step back, that gap is being filled by quieter, more distributed buying and accumulation. This is the kind of stealth accumulation that often happens right before tokens go absolutely parabolic. The CMF tracks volume-weighted accumulation over time, and when you see this kind of divergence, it's often hinting at early accumulation phases that come right before those massive moves that make millionaires overnight. Now, let's talk price targets because this is where things get absolutely explosive. According to this article, XRP is approaching a critical breakout zone at $3.37. If that level flips into support, and I believe it will, we're looking at upside targets of $3.62, which is near the all-time high, and $3.83. But here's the kicker. If XRP breaks beyond $3.62, we're looking at a clean run toward $4 and potentially a brand new all-time high. Can you imagine the euphoria when XRP finally breaks that psychological barrier and starts printing fresh highs? Of course, the analysis does mention that a breakdown below $2.96 would invalidate this bullish structure in the short term. But given everything we're seeing with whale behavior and accumulation patterns, I'm betting on the bulls here. Now, let's pivot to this absolutely incredible story from the Crypto Basic that had me literally laughing out loud. The headline says it all. Here's how much XRP has risen since Jim Cramer called it a giant con. According to this article, XRP has surged nearly tenfold since CNBC host Jim Cramer dismissed it as a giant con. An XRP commentator called Ineffatic Crypto resurfaced a 2022 discussion where Cramer made these comments when XRP was trading at approximately 38 cents. Here's the beautiful irony. The crypto community has long joked that Cramer's investment calls often mark market bottoms, and XRP appears to be yet another prime example of the infamous Cramer curse, working in reverse. Let's look at these numbers because they're absolutely staggering. XRP has climbed nearly 10 times from 38 cents at the time of Cramer's statement to the current price above $3. Specifically, XRP is now trading at $3.20, with a recent peak of $3.66 last week. This represents a mind-blowing 742% gain since Cramer's controversial comment. When you factor in the recent high, the gains exceed 863%. These figures highlight what the article calls a monumental price recovery and growth that few, especially Jim Cramer, anticipated. But Jim Cramer isn't the only big name who got XRP completely wrong. Let's talk about Forbes because this story gets even better. As you can see in this article, in March 2024, Forbes dismissed XRP as a zombie and a good-for-nothing token. At that time, XRP was trading at just 60 cents with a $36 billion market cap. Forbes criticized Ripple for its perceived lack of progress in replacing SWIFT and questioned XRP's real-world utility. They grouped Ripple with 19 other billion-dollar crypto projects that they labeled as functional zombies. Well, guess what happened next? XRP rebounded to over $3.60, adding more than $180 billion to its market cap. Talk about being on the wrong side of history. But wait, there's more. The article mentions that several other tokens criticized in that same Forbes report have also posted major gains, leading to widespread criticism of their failed predictions. Now here's where the story gets really interesting. Raoul Pal, founder of Real Vision, also got XRP spectacularly wrong. In August 2024, Pal warned XRP investors to prioritize profits over emotional attachment. He criticized what he described as a cult-like mentality within the community. Pal urged holders to move on from old coins like XRP and focus on newer narratives in the bull market. He argued that ideological attachment could cost investors substantial gains. But here's the absolutely beautiful part. Shortly after his remarks, XRP surged over 550%, jumping from 50 cents to more than $3.50. And you know what? Raoul Pal did something that very few people in this space ever do. He publicly admitted he was wrong. In a post on X, he praised XRP holders for their resilience and acknowledged their long-term conviction in the project. He clarified that his earlier comments were intended to help investors avoid missed opportunities. Look at this response from the XRP community. They welcomed the admission with open arms. Panos Mekras of Onodos Finance even encouraged Pal to explore the innovations of the XRP ledger. This is exactly why I always tell you to do your own research and trust your conviction when the fundamentals are solid. The XRP army has been through years of legal uncertainty, regulatory pressure, and constant criticism from mainstream financial media. But they held strong, they believed in the technology, and now they're being rewarded in absolutely spectacular fashion. What we're seeing here is a perfect storm of technical and fundamental factors aligning for XRP. You've got whales selling pressure dropping by over 90%. You've got stealth accumulation happening across the board. You've got major critics eating humble pie. And you've got price action that's setting up for what could be the most explosive breakout in XRP's history. The momentum building across the entire crypto market, with Ethereum pushing toward $4,000, is creating the perfect environment for XRP to make its next major move. When you combine that with the technical setup we're seeing and the fundamental strength of the Ripple ecosystem, it's hard not to be absolutely bullish on where this token is heading. Remember, folks, this is not financial advice. Always do your own research and never invest more than you can afford to lose. But the data is speaking loud and clear, and the XRP story is far from over. Make sure to smash that like button if this analysis got you as fired up as it got me. Subscribe to Gold Rush Crypto Daily for more high-energy content like this, and hit that notification bell so you never miss an update on the hottest moves in the crypto space. What do you think about these XRP developments? Are you ready for the next leg up? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next video where we'll continue tracking these absolutely explosive market movements. Until next time, this is Gold Rush. And remember, in crypto, fortune favors the bold. Peace out, crypto fam.